Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 18th of December. So starting with the euro dollar, and we continue to ride the chop effectively, the choppy seas that we're seeing at the moment, or market conditions. It pushed up yesterday. Never expected. I was sitting there waiting to see if it reacted off the weekly or just through the weekly. Never really reacted too much, and it ended up in a bit of a holding pattern here at the moment. Question is it going to continue this morning? Now coming down the time frame, so I just noticed we sort of blipped down here. We air kissed the daily pivot, and I've looked on composite price levels across a lot of different brokers, and that's been hit on some. So effectively we could have free reign to push on up, and I'll be watching this morning. I just don't need to give it until post 8 o'clock before I look for the trade, but at the moment in the short term I'm looking on the bullish side here. I'm not looking at it any way beyond a short term trade, not looking for a swing long or anything on here, because I'm still quite bearish. So just as I expected to run into its weekly pivot yesterday, which it did. Looking at the moment like we may see a continuation into that R1. Okay, I should give you an alternative really. If it does start selling off here, breaks the daily pivot there, well then I would become a bit more bearish on it in the shorter term here. But for now, well, it might get itself a bit overbought this morning. I'm just watching it carry on here at the moment, but I don't know, it's looking okay. But if it break beyond the daily pivot would be seeing me look towards the S1. Okay, pound again, well, choppy as anything, very risky. Let's come out to the dailies here. It's inside bar yesterday, and well, there's little to really be driving this. There's as much as the Labour Party is trying to suggest a vote of no confidence in the Conservative Party, or Theresa May. That's unlikely to do any good. So, or do anything. If anything, if she gets a positive vote, if that occurs, well, it'll only strengthen our hand further. But for now, looking like it may push back towards the daily 21 at some point. Short term, well, just running into the back. We've been sitting around this 4 hourly 50. If we can push through that, it becomes much more bullish. It's already touched the daily pivot. The pivots are so pinched today, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a move up towards the sort of 2670 area, somewhere in that region. Okay, that's the pound. Let's a quick look at the yen. Yen's seen a boost through the in terms of its strength against this US dollar here. Pushed off back south further. Really, we should be looking at where we are relative, somewhere around there, and it's back into that sort of trend area. It has been chopping like a lot of the markets of late, quite range bound. Whether we'll find support here, basically the data is pretty poor on it, and it's one of these where they've announced the lower inflation expectation, lower GDP, yet the currency strengthened, but it's mainly because they're looking to do other factors to help stimulate the economy. So a very weak economy in a very weak situation, and we're seeing money run to it. But again, some of this may be a safety, as a move to safety as well. Funny enough, the yen seems to be the currency of choice outside of the US dollar, and maybe money's running that way as well, with the equity markets down so far. So that's where we're sitting at the moment, running down strongly. I can't see too much to change this at the moment, and apart from I wouldn't want to be necessarily trading it, because we could end up in a bit of chop today after we're seeing what we've seen here. So we've seen the money run to safety. Aussie dollar. Let's have a look at a bigger picture here. Well, it's almost repeating what we did last week when it started providing those sort of bear flaggy sort of moves. It's run up called the weekly pivot at the moment. It's not looking that convincing. It's the upside at the moment, and we could just get that sort of drift upwards, slow movement. I mean, we saw it yesterday was just a nothing day, and I don't expect too much more coming from that. Canadian dollar, Uh, Canadian dollars continuing the push, which I suggest. I mean, we do have the weekly pivot underneath. It's not come back for that yet. Any sort of strengthening may see that happen, but personally, I would still be looking from a swing point of view on the long side of things. But short-term trading is not really one for me. It's far too choppy, and yeah, I'd be sticking on the bigger picture there with that currency. It's too volatile on an intraday basis. Okay, that's it for me. News-wise, I should mention there is some news, not a lot. We've got the what might move the market a little bit. We've got the German IFO business climate coming out at 9 o'clock. Maybe get a bit of volatility around that. Later on, 1:30, we've got building permits, housing starts, US. I don't see them as big movers. They haven't been for many years now. Hardly any mover at all, really. But in its sort of more mature stages of growth and whatever else, it'll be interesting to watch those figures come out 1:30. We may get somewhat more volatility around them to see if there's a more sustained growth sort of trend that we're in the US. Housing starts, building permits will be a good signal of that. Okay, side of that, nothing. So have a great day. I'll speak to you in the morning. Bye for now.